my name is Kieran, and I'm an automation and AI expert of many decades. Welcome to today's episode of DRUID Talks. I am thrilled to have Marco Correia, Chief Information Officer of Mercan Properties, joining us to discuss hospitality tech. Marco, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for the kind invitation. Looking forward to exchange some ideas with you.
Marco, I am looking forward to this, not only for the reason that you started in tech, or hotel management, and in every role in the hotel. I think when we once spoke, you told me you were a barman, a waiter, operations, you fell in love with IT and moved into that. There's not a lot you haven't done. But Marco, for our audience, would you mind introducing yourself and telling your audience how you actually got started with AI?
Oh, well, of course. Well, I started in the hospitality business in the late 80s, early 90s. Uh, on the hotel management side, operations. So I've done a little bit of everything, as you mentioned, barman, waiter, receptionist, night auditor, front office manager. And I was already managing IT because at the time, if people remember that time, there was like three computers, four computer stops in the hotel. But I was taking care of them, and I started to see an opportunity, see opportunity of business for me at the time. And I started a small business consulting firm in the mid 90s, supporting hotels, local hotels in Portugal. Then in the decade, I was invited to join a multinational company called Orient Express at the time as director of IT for Portugal. And then I climbed the corporate ladder. I was there with them for until 2018. I had several positions, but my last position was global head of IT. Then I moved back again to the consulting business. Everything was going great, but like every consulting business, except healthcare, then came the pandemic, and so my life changed. And in 21, I was invited to join Mercan as their chief information officer, and here I am. So the AI's journey started, I would say, as everybody else in 2022, but slowly with GPT. I was aware RPA is not news for me, but that's where it started, and that's interesting journey. Our journey with AI within Merck, it's a really, I think, is a good story.
And why Mercan, by the way? Because you must have had a choice of companies. What was it that got you excited about them specifically in that
Several
role?
things, several things. There is, personal choices. Better work-life balance. That was very important, and above all, the exciting project that Mercan is. Mercan is a multi-brand hotel asset manager and operator. So we have multiple hotels for multiple brands, Hilton, Marriott, IHG, etc. So with all these brand standards and working with all their rules and their standards, it's pretty challenging, to be honest. I never have done that before, and so it was great. And the environment, the human factor in Merkin is amazing.
It's always nice when you find a
Yeah,
home, isn't it? So really good.
yeah,
You mentioned lots of really great brand names. I think I've stayed in all their hotels.
yeah.
I must be due discount soon. But why are hospitality and travel companies so interested in generative AI, and conversational AI, Marco?
Okay, I think there is the tendency to uh, in this industry to stay behind. So we are normally behind the cycle with what other industries are doing. And what happens is suddenly we realize that we need to leapfrog and meet what the others are doing. And this is what's happening right now. Everybody's speaking about AI. So hospitality is a human activity. It's a people's activity, and I'm not saying that we're going to replace people by robots, but we can put robots and AI helping humans to do a better job and be more efficient. So we face a issue with labor shortage. we face a issue with low value tasks that sometimes it's difficult to people to get motivated to do them. New generation is in the marketplace, and they really don't want to do boring jobs. And so what we find in Mercan, and I think is goes around the industry, that after initial stage, that everybody was playing with ChatGPT and this kind of general purpose tools, the something more solid was required. And that's the moment that we in Mercan, we decided to go for a platform approach with DRUID. That is what has changed.
Because some people, they make the choice, Marco, don't they? Instead of actually purchasing a platform that's, ready built and is well supported, they develop their own bespoke solutions and then decide they're going to develop it, patch it, secure it, and. Why did you make the platform choice? I know I would do the same thing, but it's not my choice in general.
Okay, so there's a few ones, but you mentioned the patchwork. So key number one, and that seems that people have forgotten now with the gold rush for AI, security. People seem to have forgotten about data security and protecting your data and your digital assets. I'll say that's rule number one. Number two is, and when people start to develop this multitude of AI solutions, you end up with a gigantic catalog, and I will use one assistant for this purpose, and I will use another assistant for that purpose. One thing that I really like about DRUID is the single agent approach. So I can have behind the scenes multiple agents. I know a specialist on the AR, another specialist on human resources, another specialist on marketing, whatever, but the specialty of the agent doesn't count really for the end user, because you interact with only one single agent, and that is great. The other area where I found that is really important is the guardrails, is to control your data and to control what is the outputs. Now, we know, and it's more than documented, that generic LLM models do errors. They have hallucinations. And so having at the same time the possibility of integrating with those models, but keeping controls about your data outputs and your own data sets, vital. And last but not least, and this is also important, is like, why reinvent the wheel? A platform like DRUID has already native integrations with popular tools like Salesforce, like Office 365, like Dynamics, etc. When you do the patchwork, you have to do all that by yourself, and that's time-consuming, expensive. So it's not a good approach.
Yeah, same for me. I have to say, let the experts produce the expert platform, and then I can get on with doing other work. And then the change management cost, the build, you name it, it all makes such a difference. Is there a roadmap for successfully adopting generative AI?
There is a three-stage, in my opinion. This is my opinion, but I think there is three pillars, three moments that are fundamental. First point, education. Educate your people about AI. Explain them what is LLM. Explain to them what is a prompt. Let them use it. Let them get rid of the bias. Don't be afraid. To understand that people will work with AI, will not be replaced by AI. That's key number one. People be comfortable with it. Second pillar, business goals and AI usage and AI strategy alignment. So the senior management must be on board. They don't have to be experts on AI, but they need to be capable of mapping their business strategic goals with AI initiatives. Fundamental. And third, I think this is applicable to all industries, but in an industry like hospitality, where the amount of private data is immense, is ethics. Ethical usage of data and ethical behavior with what AI can do with the data that your guests provide to you. So this is like the pillars. This is like the roadmap for us.
Yeah, it's got everything in there, the tech, and I was really pleased to hear the responsible use of people's data, as well as the business case, because recently I've heard one example, Marco, of a company who's got 203 pilots up, and I was asking, well, how many are tied to the actual business case itself? And they couldn't quite articulate that for me, which could result in a very uncomfortable knock on your door from the CFO when she turns up wondering where's my money and what am I getting for it? Have you got any real life experiences of hospitality and travel AI use cases you could share with us?
Yes, so yes, we do. We are using DRUID, as I mentioned. We are in early stages, but we have launched. I say the end goal. The end goal is to have an AI ready, AI first company. Okay, but I like the approach of crawl, walk, run. So we have done the crawl stage. We have done the crawl stage with this experimentation, education, all that stuff, and now we are on the wall. So we started with 3 projects. I'm not going to have 200 projects in pilot stage. We started 3 that are not. I'll not call them pilots because we have a clear objective and we know what we want to achieve. So the first one is in the human resources area. Is we have a huge growth of staff. So our hotels are opening at a very fast pace. The human resources department is not growing at the same rhythm. So we have an intranet. We have an intranet, and that way it's quite recent. And so the question here is, how can AI help HR to do the repetitive non-value added tasks that consume a ton of time? This kind of questions that anyone that has worked in HR knows that people call, how many days of holidays I still have left this year? Or is my tax declaration from 2022 because the tax authority is asking and I don't have a clue where I started? All that stuff. Interact with the agent. It will be connected behind the scenes with all our human capital management systems, the data on Office 365, etc. And so people will do that. That's project number 1. Project number 2 has to do, and this one is a tough cookie. It's related with marketing. Okay, so with this experimentation stage, we trained a GPT using ChatGPT for Teams, so professional version. We trained them to use the Mercan voice, or our corporate voice. Okay, great, it worked perfectly. But and then he's speaking about when the platform and the more powerful engines that you want to use, like DRUID AI, is when we face this different scenario. As I told you, we are multiple brand, so we have to speak with Hilton voice. We have to speak with Marriott voice. We have to speak with IHG voice, and then inside each brand, the sub brands they have, right? We need something more powerful. So we have multiple channels. Sorry I forgot that. So the way you write, the way you produce content for a newsletter is not the same that you produce content for LinkedIn posts or for Instagram posts. They are totally different channels, the language. So it's here a balance between the voice brand, the channel, okay, and multiple brands. So basically, what we are using the lessons learned that were good in using the Mercan voice experiment to develop an agent that has the capability of generating content in multiple brands' voices using multiple channels. Third project and last. Well, I don't know if you know that, but the hotel brands are not very generous in terms of data access. So they don't give you API access to their systems. They don't give you database access. So at the end of the day, a franchisee like us, we live in the reports world. We have a lot of reports available, but it's still our reports. They are CSV, they are XML reports, but they're still. So here is a mix with RPA, but above all is AI. So we are on a daily basis extracting a lot of information out of the property management system. That's the central system of a hotel, storing it in a central location. Okay. And then the question comes, okay, this is RPA. Any RPA engine can do that. But then we had this kind of, is still the dilemma. So now we're going to build 200 dashboards and 200 reports and hire a data analyst. And then at the end of the day, people will look at 2 or 3 dashboards and we'll ask the data analyst to do more and more reports because on the existing set, there is not a report that they want. So let's face it in another way. So let's build like a couple of dashboards, the old school way, the ones that we know that people really use in hotel industry, like average room rate, occupancy, all this kind of stuff, and then put agent aside and let people ask the questions. It's like, please, I want to compare the Q1 of 2023 to Q1 of 2024 occupancy of our Hilton hotels in Porto, in the city of Porto. Ask the agent, and the agent will generate the content. It's much easier. It's much easier for us. DRUID allows that. I saw an amazing example, and that's not my idea. I saw a live example of a DRUID in a DRUID event in London where I saw that interaction, and I was like, "Whoa, I want to do that." That was, and so that's it. It's to put at the fingertips of the end user the power to question the data and get the data back to him or to her. That's the purpose.
Yeah, in a way that they can understand as well, the most natural way.
Conversation is a conversation. Is always a conversation.
Marco, is AI technology expensive?
Is valuable. It's not. If it's not very expensive, if we would like look at the check that we, I don't find it expensive. It's a new technology. It's like any technology. The more popular it gets, the prices go down. That's the reality of the world. But the value is high. Is massive value. I'll say the value that I get, the return on investment that I get, it's amazing. The time that we have to pay back these things it's crazy.
I think it's almost an odd question, isn't it? Because it's not about cost, as you say, it's about value. What is it that you're going to get for the money that you spend?
Is the value. Is a value, absolutely. Is a value.
What advice do you have for hospitality and travel companies implementing generative AI now you've learned all of your experiences?
Well, the first advice is, and I'm going to repeat myself, is train your people. Train. Second is align the strategy. Second. And the third one, is not about the cost, but about the thinking. The strategic thinking only makes sense when you use a platform. Have the platform approach. Don't have a patchwork of tools that you cannot control. That at the end of the day, you will end up with a mess under your ecosystem, and will not control it. Reduce the tools and use a platform like DRUID to streamline and concentrate your efforts to have a better return on investment.
I really like that, Marco, because too many times I come in after people have done the exact opposite and companies are asking me to fix all that. Marco, thank you so much for today. I have learned a lot, particularly about the hospitality and the travel industry today. I'm delighted you have found a platform that you adore. I love the different use cases that you have described. They're so diverse, they're so different. And I love the marketing one, just in particular. The others I adore as well, by the way. But when you said it's multiple types of content, multiple channels, multiple messages, I think sometimes people may see conversational AI as a chatbot. You ask it a question, it gives you an answer, but they're so much more powerful as is generative AI these days. And once you put that to a proper business case, then rather than it being, as I rudely asked, is AI expensive? It's, can you afford to do without AI? Because the business value that you get from it should be exponential. And our imagination may be limiting us more than anything else. So Marco, thank you so much for all of those insights. They were absolutely
Thanks for having me. Great to speak with you.
My pleasure. And thanks to all the audience today for listening in. And we'll see you next time on the latest DRUID Talks. Thank you very much, everyone.